Hello, 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 hello. So, for those who've seen the most recent episode, let's hope we don't get the same issues again. Um, but I actually hesitated on putting that thing up, but there was some interesting tidbits. So go watch it. There's drama.
That's a way to put things.
Yeah. So, before we get into the exploration of the map and recapping what happened previously, a couple of things. One, we, in the interest of, my lovely players expressed a certain level of boredom with the jungle encounters, and being level 6,
Regret.
the XP grind that is supposed to be the jungles of Chult does lose its flair. Let's put it that way.
Oh, the
And
last encounter was fire.
yeah.
Yep.
So, which means, and I'm going to share this with the players right now, I've come up with a few new rules for the jungle exploration, and I will invite you to look at your screens now. There you go. I've shared it with you.
Ooh.
Fancy.
So, basically, this is basically what I'm going to do. So I'll be rolling the weather, which will I've added lost mechanics to the weather, so it's possible for you to get lost because of bad weather or just bad stuff. You basically will roll a number of days without incident, so D8, D6, D4. And once we have that number of days, which should amount to the number of hexes that you will travel, I roll a d6 for the amount of encounters that day. Well, I won't go through the whole table there, but as you can see it, then I will roll the encounters and their reactions. So that way we have a.
What's the reactions mean?
Well, the reactions is something. It's actually a table that I found online, which is interesting. As long, especially in nature, you come up against a dinosaur, for example. They're not necessarily going to immediately attack.
Oh, let's be friends.
Yeah, maybe
I already have one. I already have
exactly.
a dinosaur. Let's have two.
They might be. I mean, you might be coming up on them and they're just curious and they move on. They might be or you might be very close to their nest and therefore they will be immediately aggressive. So that is something that I'm going to be simulating with this table.
So if they're feeling threatened or
Yeah, exactly.
okay.
It goes anywhere from immediately friendly to immediately hostile, and the flaming fist I rolled was immediately hostile. I didn't.
No.
I mean, that was fine. We were also immediately
Yeah,
hostile.
exactly.
So.
Yeah. But I cheated a bit because I wanted something a bit more for that encounter, and I think I got it, but I don't think a lot of you noticed. Anyhow, and
And
on that segue, let's move into basically what happened last week, which is very important for the viewers. We're hoping for the best. Um, with regards to what happened during the lost session.
Dozen of viewers.
Yeah, the dozens. Yeah, no,
One
absolutely.
dozen.
1 dozen. Yeah, yes. His nickname is Dozen. Uh, so, what happened last time? Um, in short, you had decided to leave the river to move inland towards a spot on the map that was indicated to you by one of the merchant princes, as being the place where an explorer's journal had been found. Plus, you had pretty much been told something about a golden god by a goblin, in somewhere in that area. and so you decided to investigate. As you went through the jungle,
We discussed a bit about
yes, there was definitely. Well, that was the session before.
Yeah. No, we also
No?
talked a
Yeah.
bit about like we did some lore checks.
Yes. So there was
And we
a
were
bit of,
suddenly going like, well, yeah, no, it's like a snake with wings, and then suddenly people were like, I think that's it.
yeah. So yes, there's a bit of discussion behind Iku's back about her true nature, and about what you knew about her, and what you knew about her people, which is basically not a lot. Let's face it.
No.
Apart from the fact that these are
Celestial.
they're celestials and they're orphan celestials, as in the gods who
Right,
created
yeah.
them, and they are so old that a lot of the missions, and they're usually guardians, but a lot of the missions that they were created for have no longer any purpose. Either because the temple that they were created to guard has disappeared, or whatever reason. And considering the history of Chult, that is actually quite possible. I recommend you have a look at the history in the Wikipedias. It's nuts. Chult was an island, then a continent, then a peninsula, then it's back to an island. Now it's another peninsula. It will, yeah, it's a bit wonky.
Yeah,
Um,
it's basically comic book like timeline things.
Tiny, whiny, Chrissy Perkins.
Holy.
Like someone wrote that it's an island. Let's roll with it.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
yeah, but the other one doesn't agree. Okay, we'll make something to make everyone happy.
Yes, it changed into an island. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and then there was huge cosmic. Yeah, okay, that's good, friend.
We'll make an date.
Yeah, well, yeah. Who's keeping track of these, anyways?
Hi.
Said somebody 20 years ago.
And now the internet does.
Yeah, exactly. So as you've been, you then moved inland towards this this X in the middle of your map, and the storm kicked up, which means that
yeah,
you were.
it was a real sudden day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the at the end of the storm, well, as you gathered around a fire, the flaming fist showed up and basically tried to ransack you.
What a shit day.
Yeah.
Well,
At
Sorsha,
first-
Sorsha made an attempt at
Yeah.
being diplomatic.
Try.
Yeah.
It's-
So I loved the bard decided indeed to be diplomatic. The paladin and technically ambassador decided no.
fuck these guys.
Yeah, fuck these guys. And
The cleric wholeheartedly agreed.
Yeah, actually, I have a question about that because I don't remember. Did we already have a conversation about like why Gale hates the flaming fist so much
No.
in game?
no, we've not.
No.
Okay, because I definitely want to have that conversation in game.
There was a violence ensued, and as they tried to get the jump on you, you slaughtered
They
them.
tried to attack Leral, those bastards.
Well,
Poor
yeah. Well, no, actually, they started.
tiny creature.
Yeah. By the way, let's talk about that. You'd had. Did you already reinvoke him?
He wasn't.
He was killed. He was popped out of existence.
No.
No.
No, not this time. It was
No.
with the shoe monsters, but it
Kumari
wasn't
got-
this time.
No.
Kumari got killed.
Yeah, Kumari was.
Yeah, Kumari, yes, but not Leral.
No, I apologize. I'm mixing up with
Mhm.
another familiar on
it's
another
okay.
table. So in this case,
The
yes,
thing that popped was the tension between Rune and Sorsha.
yes,
That popped.
Yes.
yeah. So that's going to be conversations to be had at a later on. That yes,
I also called my daddy also.
yes,
Like, hi dad, how are you? And they were like, yeah, good job, you kicked their asses. And by the way, they know.
yes. We're gonna get to that. I owe the audience as we'll start a cutscene.
Yes.
So, um, as we move, is there anything in particular that we? Right, and as you looted the bodies, Gale, you found a notebook with a series of portraits, sort of wanted posters, and with a mumble at your lips, and the one very familiar poster in your hands, you put that into your bag for later, either use or whatever. So that's going to be
Yep.
maybe a prop for at some point for a conversation. Is there anything else we need to add to the recap?
I think that's it.
Okay. Um. Also, so we're about 10 minutes in. Do you guys have any um plans or expectations, or actually something to discuss with regards to last session going into this session? Yes, we're going to be doing these
I
kind of
think
intros now.
there were a couple of conversations already
Yes.
mentioned.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So, let's get to the cutscene then. So, if this were a TV show, we would, instead of the mist-covered jungle canopy as we're flying over, we move north along the world, and come over the familiar gray, um, uh, not of mists over jungle, but chimney smoke above city. And we move into a clear-skied Waterdeep, but covered in snow. As we move about the city, one would expect that we would travel maybe towards the northward, towards the familiar taverns and either Thunderstaff Mansion or the Trollskull Manor, but we moved to the south. What was going? Mm. Anyways, we move south and come into the dock ward. We zoom in on a familiar rooftop of a snow-covered tavern with an anchor plunged into the roof. Most likely for budget reasons, reusing one of the taverns from season 1. The snowbanks in this area have covered the streets, and people are making their way through the snow by the own force of their own arms and sort of shuffling about. But we see that in the about 3 feet of snow, there is one silhouette, of which we can only guess the hood, making its way across the snowbank up to the tavern's door. The broken windows that you knew have been boarded up completely, and it's into a very smoky inn. So the Skewered Dragon Inn, that this halfling comes in with a heavy packet, with a large package underneath his cloak, which gives him that hunched silhouette. He pulls down his hood, shakes the snow that has accumulated on it, and looks about the room. As he notices the people that he's looking for at the edge of the room next to the fireplace, he puts back on his hood and joins them. The 3 figures that are waiting for him are of humanoid build, though one of them has the distinct snout of a dragonborn peeking out from this hood. As the halfling steps up to the shakes off his cloak, and basically we can now see the package that he has on his back, which is a some sort of barrel, which he sort of scoops up and places on the table. One of the three, a maybe half-elven man by the pointy ears and the beard, mentions that, so our contact came well, was helpful then. You got that is what we needed? The halfling replies, yeah. Everything without a hitch. Nobody wants to go out in this snow, not even the city guard. So I found it where it was left. Yeah. But could we maybe move a table or two? I'm nervous about the fire being next to this thing. The third figure that has been a young maybe this one a woman a bit older, maybe in her older than the appearance, maybe in her 40s, looks to them and says, it should be okay as long as the fire doesn't spark this way. Besides, just cover it up with your cloak and it shouldn't be a problem. You should be doing that anyways. The halfling sort of looks at it. But why don't you put your cloak on it? I'm cold, and I haven't had the time to warm up after that. Anyhow, so is this thing really as effective as they say? The Dragonborn, his sort of a greenish yellow, a greenish snout with sort of golden hues to the scales in the firelight, says, "Oh, I guarantee that this is going to make quite the message. It's not magical. The wards will not keep it out. We will make ourselves heard, and they will hear us all the way to Neverwinter with this." And as those words echo, we turn towards the barrel. And right before the halfling covers it up with his cloak, we can read the words. We can see the words, "Danger, smoke powder," and we fade out. Yes, there is trouble afoot in Waterdeep, as now apparently, according to Lord Thunderstaff, the secret of the death curse is known in the if not in the general public, at least to people who have an interest in, well, non-resurrecting nobles or people in power. As we move back towards the jungles of Chult, where the storm, while it has abated, rain has taken its place. And so as you pick up camp, with leaving the bodies of the Flaming Fist behind, you set up on your journey. So if I can have someone roll a d8.
Did we have
Yeah.
did we have a full rest?
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
Yes, you have if you have not taken a long rest at the end of the last session, please do.
I don't think I have.
Plus, you
But-
didn't even need to sleep because, well, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. I got a full night's rest, even though I was awake.
Yes.
Same here.
Yep.
Good point. Thank you.
But you know what time is it? Time to click on that damn hexagon.
And we can also, I think we can then also remove the exhaustion that I still have.
Yes.
And I had prone on for some reason.
Yes, because you had been laid prone.
Right. And where is my exhaustion? Oh,
Okay.
it's on
Yeah.
already. Okay.
Getting out of one level of exhaustion.
Yes, you had 2, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had those.
So, can someone please roll me a d8?
Who would like to do the honors?
By the way, how do you want
Do we need to roll high or low?
So, if you it's the number of days that
Right.
that you will have without incident.
Then someone else should roll because I always roll low.
However, as I do not want to start keeping track of everything, if you ever get into an area of interest, so for example, if you travel 2 days to that X there, what we're going to do is basically just set it back to 0.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That is indeed much easier than trying to remember. Like, wait, so
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
how much did we roll last time? And that was 2 sessions ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how many are left? I don't want to do the accounting. So
No,
okay,
that's fine.
okay, cool. We can't hear you.
Sorry. Okay, so I opened the calendar to keep track of how many days we actually walk. And if you want, I can roll the first d8.
Yep. Okay.
Go ahead.
2-0 now.
Okay. So
Nice.
yeah. So you're really in a clear. So definitely, let's remove some tokens.
Yay.
So
Let's go.
which
It's the first one, isn't it?
yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh,
Controlled by all
God.
players. There we go. Okay. So I want. Could you please move? Normally, anybody should be able to move the
Yeah.
token. So
Yes,
you can.
indeed.
So
Who
go
does
ahead.
it?
I'll go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Boop.
Yay.
After all,
Yay.
Yay.
it's Mari
Congratulations,
on the token.
everybody.
And boop. You have
Boom.
claimed your first hex. How does it feel?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. Where next?
North or south?
To
I would
the
think-
X. The X.
Yeah, but you've got moving.
I'd say northwest.
Yes,
and
I
then,
would say northwest too. Yeah.
Okay, so boop.
Wait, yeah, exactly.
There you go. And so moving to this square right
And
here.
then heading south west to get towards the X.
Yeah.
Boop. There we go.
And so that's 3 days.
So that is indeed 3 days.
Just like that.
That is like wow, that suddenly went fast.
Yeah, exactly. Could somebody please make me a? Now, here's the thing: is that you've been told that there is something in this area, but the jungle. I mean, it's hard to find something in the jungle when you've. So I'm going to actually still ask for somebody to roll me a.
Survival?
Yeah, roll me a survival, as this is you're going to be trying to look for this place.
Small
Okay.
detail, but of course, like at departure, I would have resummoned Skamari again.
Yeah, no problem.
Can I help her?
Yeah, sure.
And inspire her, for example. And guidance.
Yeah, so guidance.
Guidance
Yeah,
is
but
cast.
I can.
So,
I
I
prefer
need-
to help him. To help her to give her advantage.
Right. So, yes, you can. It's basically going to be your travel roll, right? So,
Yeah.
roll your survival with advantage and roll a d4.
Seriously?
It's
Oh,
it's a
God.
good thing.
With advantage.
It's a good thing you roll
Yeah.
advantage. So roll that d4.
Yeah.
Coming. God damn it. Tonight's gonna be horrendous.
Well, I had in my mind set the difficulty to 15, so that's exactly what you need. So, as you're looking through the jungle in this area, you notice that there's quite a few. You're not traveling in just pure jungle. The way Salida, who seems much more aware of, she's taking the lead on most of these trails, and you see her following a lot of the game trails, that seem to sort of weave a path through the jungle, and so you can see these paths. But in this particular area, you notice that the paths are much more worn, as in you start getting actual pathways.
No.
As you're looking through them, you can see a mix of footprints. Some of them large, some of them small, mostly small of them. And a lot of them seem to sort of join up into the sort of maybe the wider, the same way um, going up a river that all of its branches. You seem to be going up towards the source of these branches.
Mhm.
The On keeping your guard up, knowing that there's at least goblins in the area, you start seeing here and there what seems to be markers or a sort of decorations on the trees. You'll see whether it's feathers and sort of woodwork, carvings in trees, some of the rocks that have been maybe sculpted to resemble a sort of domed head with a circle in the center. Um, and following those leads, you come up into a clearing. The clearing is clearly artificial. It has been cleared of and maintained. You can see that where the jungle would come come up, um, it's been hacked, maybe burned around in this sort of wide area, wider than any clearing that you've seen. It's enough for a beam of light to shine in the center of the clearing.
Ooh. Okay.
S-
Okay.
So, standing next to some rocks and ferns in the center of this clearing, stands a 8-foot tall statue, humanoid in shape, with bronze fists, iron joints, an adamantine breastplate, and an iron helm with slit for eyes. The rest of the statue is made of sculpted wood, reinforced with bands and rivets of adamantine. Scattered around its feet are offerings of food, feathers, colored stones, and skulls. The skulls are, most of them are of animal origin, but you notice a few humanoid skulls, and indeed some of them goblin as well.
Is there like, can we try to identify what
Sure.
deity it's supposed to represent?
While they're busy with that, I'm gonna ritual cast detect magic.
Okay. So the make me a knowledge check. Okay.
Ooh.
Right. So Vroon, this is not hmm. I kind of want to reward that 21.
Yeah, but I'm probably discussing it with him,
Mm.
so
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. That 21 definitely comes from the cleric in the group. Because your first reaction is, what kind of deity is this? And you don't recognize the deity. You've been to a few temples. This is not something from Chult, maybe Omnian or whatever
Mhm.
god, but
Yeah.
no. But that's when Gale mentions this is not a god. This is not even a statue. This,
that's the thing we're looking
my
for.
friends, is a shield guardian. And I'm
A
going
what?
to.
Shield
A
Guardian.
shield guardian.
Yeah, but I don't have a clue about
Ooh.
what
The
that
wizard's,
means.
the
Shield
wizard's best friend.
Yes, shield guardians are automaton bodyguards, basically. They are used. They are fairly rare, even in a city like Waterdeep. There's probably, I would imagine that in Waterdeep, there's probably a license needed to have one of these things.
Okay.
They are they're incredibly powerful. They are and are used by basically by mages and wizards to protect them against their squishy bodies by putting this adamantine shield between them. They are usually linked to
Heinrich will remember this.
you. Come on, Heinrich, you are squishy. If I
Yes.
manage to land a hit on you, you are squishy.
Yes.
Um, the wizard is the meme. Um, as you look forward to this, something comes to mind. The designs that I mean, remember the notebook. Within the notebook, there was designs and drawings of a statue that's very similar to this one.
Yes, and didn't we have an amulet too? Some
There was the
they found.
drawing. There was the drawing of an
Yeah.
amulet. There was no
Oh, okay.
amulet found. No.
We need to find it,
Mhm.
actually.
I'll cast and detect magic. One moment, please.
Mm.
Apologies. As you detect magic, the statue is clearly magical. It is still active, basically. So it is still no, not active. It is still in working order. So should you find the amulet, you will be able to reactivate it.
Already very good.
Other than that, there is nothing of note around.
Can I make a check to see if that statue has moved recently, or if it's purely used as a statue by the goblins who
Sure.
probably worship it? And has it any goal on it that wouldn't justify the golden god that the goblin gave it?
Um, I would imagine in the light that comes down, all of the mm, yes, you see that is me, the GM, improvising on something that I not read across. So let's say that for all intents and purposes, the armor, instead of being the dull iron that you see on the photo, is more of a brass type.
Okay.
So it is
Mhm.
golden. It's
Okay.
the and it is in um I mean, it's magical, so it would be in pristine condition. So the brass would not have gone in any verre de gris or
Yeah.
such. There'd be no weathering of this piece of. It has. You can definitely see that it has, as you examine it, it does have battle damage. Um, you can see that within the wood, it has quite a bit of so nicks, scratches here and there. But other than that, it is in perfect working order.
Mhm.
You do see somewhere about the chest, there's a small indent where a disc about this big would be able to be placed in there.
I'm gonna do an investigation check while with the detect magic that is activated.
Okay.
And while they are occupied with the statue or looking for the amulet, Sorsha would probably be on her guard because the area is maintained, it's is kept.
Absolutely.
So yes, with Leroy, I would probably keep many eyes open and and trying to spot anything.
Okay, roll me a d6, please.
Yep.
So Heinrich, while she does that, okay.
Okay.
Heinrich, what are you looking for?
I think
And
while Gale is opening.
I'll answer the
Well,
Gale's question in the same roll. So go ahead.
Okay, so while Gale is opening the book for the amulet,
Mhm.
I'm gonna try to look at the amulet, look at the disc at the center, and try to look or for the amulet to see what kind of magic it would like try to follow the trail of magic to find the amulet.
Okay.
Or a disc with an essence of magic protruding from it.
Yeah. So the indentation is behind the shield guardian, roughly around where its shoulder blades would meet. So it's center of the back. You would know that the amulet would definitely have a signature, right? It would be if it was here in the fronds, sort of maybe lost among the area, among the vegetation. You would be able to find it because you have detect magic. You are fairly certain. No, you are certain that the amulet is not within the clearing. Now um, within the statue itself has not moved in a long while. You can see that the vegetation has started creeping up. That it has made a sort of little indent into the soil, and that the soil is sort of creeped up above it. It's probably been there for quite a few months, without any without anything being sort of disturbing it. You can see the vegetation doesn't go up too high, nothing above its ankles, or so that part is maintained as well. So there's no creepers moving up to the creature, but yes, it has not moved in a long time.
Okay.
Can Sorsha, could you please make me a perception check?
Yes, I can do that.
Oops.
Perception.
Well, okay. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
And I would have
Can I
given
get
you
advantage because of
because
Lero?
Laryl, yeah. So on the edge of the clearing, there's a bit of movement. At first, you're not exactly sure of what you're looking at because it seems to be movement, but it's almost like sort of moss moving, but moss doesn't move. And as you sort of look closer, you start seeing maybe what seems to be a head or sort of a humanoid shape. It is accompanied by and as you sort of look closer, and this time through Lerald's eyes, who has a sort of closer, he's got more depth perception because 8 eyes.
Yeah.
You notice a small creature, green. Let's see. I can get you. Let's see. Yes, it is a small. Yeah. And if you did not, the only reason you can see it is because it casts shadows, and it seems to be moving on the background. If this were immobile, you would not. You would think it would be part of the vegetation.
Okay.
Ignore the creature at its side. That one is not. That one is not present. So
Yet.
if you know anything about was it what's that game again? Abe's Odyssey.
Yes.
I can
It does look.
definitely see the inspiration. Oddworld, I think.
Yeah.
And as soon as it notices that you've seen it, it sort of its attention seems to be towards Laryl and towards the rest of you, but doesn't go. It goes very still, and you have to strain yourself. You yourself, as you move maybe to the others to kind of to kind of notice, tell them there's something there. As you turn back, you can't see it anymore, though Laryl still can.
Hmm.
So Laryl has its eyes fixated upon it, but just the fact that you turned away, this thing is completely camouflaged in its surroundings.
Okay. So I
Nice
would
try.
be like, I would just try to attract their attention, but so calmly and like movements and like, and I'll wait until I've grabbed everyone's attention.
Mhm.
I don't see anything.
Yeah. He.
What's your passive perception, Root?
Oh,
15.
15? Yeah, I actually don't think you would see it.
by the way, we see your stealth roll
I know.
on the. Okay.
I know that's a problem. I will deal with it. I
He
forgot to
said
update
oops.
that. Yes, I said oops.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just looking at my new friend for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was looking at the right page when you said oops, so
Yeah.
now I get it.
I would like to ask Salida,
Mm-hmm.
do you know about moss people? Moss creatures?
As you mentioned that, she turns and let's see.
Because I would talk to him, but I'm not sure he would understand me.
as she turns around, you see her scanning immediately the surrounding. And it is okay. Immediately the okay. Right. Okay. Perfect. It scans and she says, "Oh, one of those then. Hmm. We must be careful. They rarely are alone." Um,
I'm too small for that.
Eku, at which point you sort of Salida says, "But if it is alone, we must make sure that it does not report back to its others." And she starts looking into the general direction, and you can see that she's pulled out the she's slowly pulling out an arrow and knocking to her bow.
Why would you want to hurt it? Is it bad?
They are unpredictable. At which Eku says, "They are only unpredictable to those who do not know their ways. Let me."
Right.
And Eku sort of steps, and in a series of maybe these would be sort of whistles, sort of these would be similar to wind going through through reeds, not weeds, reeds. And with the gestures of the hand, starts to basically to communicate with the creature, or at least that's what you think that she's doing. There's a hoot sound that comes from the creature, as it this time it makes itself a bit more visible to you. You can see it still very much sort of color on color, tone on tone with the surrounding vegetation, but comes out just slightly out of the ring of trees. Um, it does not step very further away, further into the sort of the drier patches of the and you can see it's very much um it's almost like moss and mushrooms aping humanoids. very much. Well, I mean, you can see the image, right? And it sort of communicates with Eku for a moment, and Eku turns to you and says, "It is asking what we, if we have come to make offerings to the god."
Um,
We came to literally bring it back.
Mm. I and she turns around and the sort of the gestures and the hooting. It says that this god provides protection to all those who come around it. It is a sacred place for many tribes in the area.
What does it do to protect the tribes? Does he move? Is he does he has um does he use or is it magical as a defense? I'm trying to formulate it, sorry.
She she turns to she doesn't even turn to the creature, which is sort of looking at you almost expectantly, sort of trying to figure out what your motives are. And she says, well, if just by its presence it has brought an amount of peace between rival clans and creatures in this area, I believe that that is all the magic that you would need. But no, no, it is not. It is a sacred place more than that is. Their faith in it apparently is real, and that is sufficient.
Hmm.
So now the question.
Yeah. Because apart from the quest we were given, we could use its protection ourselves.
Um, I think it would be Inete who would say, "Well, if one of the merchant princes has asked you to find it and bring it back, they will not be happy if you come back empty-handed, especially if you have actually found it."
As long we don't have the amulet to activate it and to command it, we cannot do anything with it.
That is true.
Could we maybe?
how big is it?
But the amulet?
No, the guardian.
Oh, the guardian. It's I mean, well, did I mention
Yeah,
that?
because that's not true. We could use the whole.
Is the hole big enough?
I
So
think
the
it is.
shield guardian is a. Let's see. It's a large construct. So definitely, I would say at least 2.5 meters tall. This is a lumbering giant. It's bigger than Vroom.
Mm-hmm.
It would still fit in the portable hole, but yeah.
Will it? I don't remember how deep the hole was, but
It's 10 on 10.
okay, then yes.
Yeah.
It would fill up the hole, but
Mm. You
Yeah,
could
we
technically
wouldn't.
put it. Yeah, you could technically put it, but as mentioned, without the amulet, it is just a shiny hunk of metal and wood.
Yes.
Inete would say, "Would it know any? Would the creature know anything about it?"
I can describe well.
Well, you have a
Points
drawing of it.
to points to Gale. You had the notebook, right?
Yes.
Well, I think you would have a better chance explaining the amulet to them.
With pointing and
As the as you present, so how do you go about it?
I would explain that we know that the god will be more powerful if it answers to that necklace, and see if they have any idea of where the necklace could be. Well, the amulet could be.
So do you show them the drawing?
Yes, I showed the drawing.
Okay. You have, as you move up forward, you can really see this creature now up close, and there's a definite smell of it's not a smell of rot, but it's a smell of or sort of damp earth coming about it. There's a it's it's the smell of rotting of wet leaves and sort of it's very sort of seasonal for those who are watching this in October. It's a very seasonal smell in a sense, at least for us Belgians. And as you move in, it sort of it places a hand sort of on the drawing of the necklace, and just by touching it, it leaves these sort of little indents of green, sort of wet greenish traces on, and it it places a hand on just above its chest, and seems to be pointing in the direction of, this would be northeast. And Eku replies and says, the that the 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 sign of the keeper is being held by one of the goblin tribes not too far from here. It is a symbol that is passed from chief to chief as a measure of peace between them.
so basically to retrieve this thing with the key to it, we would have to cause not just war within these peoples, but also within the goblins. I
I
am not
think yes.
particularly fond of the trade.
Yeah. Plus, we did not promise anything to the merchant, only to try. But we did not promise to raise chaos.
He will still be upset for us not trying harder.
I don't care. Do you?
I'm of two
Which
minds.
merchant prince was it again? That's
Otamu.
Otamu, yeah.
What's the
I'm
only
sorry,
one you
guys.
met?
Just a couple
Yeah.
of seconds.
Do understand that yes, we made a promise, and if we have more important things to deal with for the moment. So, or we react accordingly and we retrieve the necklace, or I'll send him a message now, give him the coordinates, and he can arrange to get him himself. But we promised to find it. We found it. We have the coordinates, and he can send on other expeditions.
I feel that is not very different from us.
Yeah.
He will send people here to what's I am now having some hesitation to do for him.
Technically, he did send you.
Oh, I'm during that discussion. I'm looking at Eku and how she what her reactions might be towards the.
Eku Eku has that look about I am not getting involved, but I'm very interested in the debate.
Okay, how is Salida looking?
Salida is definitely looking over the creature over the no, over the sort of the statue, and I'm not saying that you're seeing coins in her eyes, but she's definitely saying is that there's definitely moments that well, if Otamu is interested in this thing, it would definitely work towards my debt.
I think we should retrieve the medallion. I'll explain myself. Because Otamu already has the coordinate. It's not that far from
Right.
the city.
He did mark it on our map.
Yes. So he'll send someone with less, maybe less diplomacy and scruples. I don't know the English words.
Anyways,
There
With
is an amusing other option, of course. If we explain to these, well, all the strange and multitudes of green little folk that live around here, how they can use their guardian. But perhaps that is not wise. Goblins with such a tool would be
they would be
dangerous.
wiped out. Yeah.
the other option.
The thing is with when you have something that's powerful when you don't have the means to protect it, is that sooner or later, if people learn about it, it will bring your destruction. And I think that it will happen there.
Yes, but I think you're going to have a hard time convincing those creatures that their god is actually putting them in danger.
Well, we don't have to put it that way, but maybe just say that the god is called somewhere else. It's bending the truth, but it's a lesser evil.
God is going on a sacred mission to protect the jungles. And
Yeah.
starts to giggle a bit and starts to take notes on the big guy again.
Could work.
You start doing what on the big guy? Sorry.
I'm just taking notes. Like now, I've literally have the thing in front of me, and as a wizard, I'm like, "Ooh, this is a rare thing. Let's take notes on the runes. Let's take notes on everything that I can observe."
Okay. Okay. Why don't you make me a Arcana check?
Uh,
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
I shall roll it right now.
You.
Good,
Nice.
Yeah.
good.
This is definitely of the as you're looking about it. This is not made in your general area. This is definitely Omnian design and origin. This might have been made in Athkatla, for example. It does not follow any. You've worked a bit with the teachings of Gond in Waterdeep. This seems to be something completely different. It's not mechanisms. It's not. It's it would be fully moved about by magic in a sense. There aren't any. It's not like um um what was his name again? The
Yeah, the automaton.
the automaton.
Forgot.
Anyway, so it's nothing like it's nothing like the hinged automaton that you'd met in Waterdeep during your adventures. This would be as it is. It's sort of set into itself. Sort of so the pieces sort of click into place to make to give it stability. But when it becomes mobile, you can definitely see where the areas it's more like levitation. The joints are either magnetic, if you see what I mean. So it's more of there's no actual hinges, there's no actually ball bearings. It's moving it about in by magical energy in a sense. So very much of an arcane design rather mechanical design.
Oh, I'm smiling. I'm smiling while I'm busy. And can I rewire it?
No, these things are made. The idea is the amulet itself. While you can attune to it, I believe it's a. Let me just check. I think it's you need to attune to it. But the idea is you can't just attune to it. You need to basically place it at the back of the creature. That's how you attune to it, so that it recognizes you as the user. In order to
Okay.
avoid the if the basically it's to avoid if the user is captured or whatever, that the capture just takes it just puts it on. If the shield guardian isn't around for there to be a transfer of power, it's not going to happen.
Okay.
And I'm looking at all of you. I don't know if this is actually true, but that's how I'm doing it things this way. There you go. That's the F. Catherine
Fair
design.
enough. I'm gonna ask the creature, I forgot his name, the Veggie Pygmy?
Mm-hmm.
If he can tell me the story of how the god came to be.
It sort of, it hoots again, and Eku translates. He says that many moons ago, no, it would be many generations ago. He says that a god with footsteps of thunder walked in this area, and as it traveled, it decided that it would rest here. And that is why this is a place of rest for all who are around it.
Mm-hmm.
The legend does not mention of a mage that accompanied it.
No, I guess not.
Though, and she has a look to the bones. He says he might be in one. He might be in that pile over there.
He might be.
Wow. We should go to the goblins then, probably.
Anyways, we need that. We need that pendant if we want to. If you want to move that statue.
Hmm.
Yeah, the goblins I'll
not sure.
What are you thinking, Ron?
That removing this will certainly cause chaos right away.
Yeah.
Or we leave it here. I will come back later because we're actually losing time also in the main goal that we actually need to do.
Yes, we could also decide, because we have to come back to Port Nyanzaru anyways, that we pick it up on the way back. Now that we know where it is.
And
It
we
hasn't
know,
moved for many generations. So
indeed,
Well,
because we need to move.
I
Because
am not opposed to indeed delaying this decision till later and focusing on more pressing matters.
yes, that would be quite pleasant.
in that way, it has less uh, less travels to do, because if it is not functioning for a reason or another, if the magic is old and maybe not optimal, at least we don't have that far to go with it.
Oh, don't worry. And he taps against the. He says like, this bad boy. When you activate it, it's gonna work.
Yeah. So to answer your question, because I'm now reading on the Masters Amulet, Heinrich. So first of all, the Master's Amulet is not in attunement, so it is you need
Oh,
you would need to do the sort of the transfer. Um, a If the amulet is destroyed, the Shield Guardian is incapacitated until a replacement amulet is created. So you would be able to create a replacement as long as the previous one is destroyed, so that you don't get two signals coming in. And it would crafting an amulet requires a week and costs about 1,000 gold pieces and components, which you will most likely not find in the jungle.
Yes.
oh no, that's too bad. So we're going.
Yeah, the idea was to continue on our main quest and come back for the statue later.
Okay. I have marked it upon the map under the and you can see Vorn,
Yeah.
which happens to be the name of the guardian. There we go.
wow.
So, as you do, I mean, do you leave something there in as an offering? Do you rest there? What is the plan?
Well, I don't think Vroon is going to leave an offering because it's clearly not a god. So
Okay.
Do you?
However, if it is a place of rest and that we know that the neighboring tribes won't attack or do anything right here, it
you suggest to
might,
rest here.
yeah, it might be interesting to rest here.
Okay.
We might as well.
If if we're resting, I'm gonna send the sending spell to my dad again to ask for an update on this on how it goes for the moment.
Okay.
But I'll do it in private and as silent as possible as I can. But my face will betray complete stress and panic on his face.
Okay. I mean, you've been sending these messages. We're not going to do this in sort of once, sort of the whole thing. You've been communicating with him over the last couple of days.
Yeah,
Um,
the
and you've been getting. Have you been contacting anybody else?
I would
uh,
probably ask you from time to time um, to call upon Caleb or Bunny. to get some news.
I'll call Bonnie.
Okay.
I
Anyways,
don't like Caleb. He's a douchebag.
Oh, he's
the
not.
so
I don't like him.
the way
You don't like anyone are like out of out of the party.
And that's already a very good
I
step.
I just realized that Heinrich actually doesn't like anyone Sorsha does outside of the group.
And that's for a reason that you can still discuss with me during our travels.
the sense of the conversations that you have as limited that you can do by, I mean, you're communicating by tweet essentially, so there's not much
Yeah.
you can do, knowing that there has to be an answer. Anyways, the conversation that you have, it clearly indicates that Waterdavian nobility, in and anyone important within the city has been basically on lockdown. The snow has helped, because there's not a lot of movement anyways, and whenever there's movement in the streets, it's monitored. Basically, it's much easier to notice people walking in the middle of the snow when they're the only one in the street.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely been Force Grey has been reactivated by the Black Staff, and has been
Oh shit.
basically been infiltrating different cells and different any sort of there's definitely a couple of puppeteers that have sort of reappeared. uh, Either they could be Zentarum, they could be something else. There's definitely a couple of uh, there's activity of chaos coming in where nobles and people of power are being targeted by sometimes suicide, or suicide-ish type attacks, where you would have a servant that would go in with a knife, either under suggestion or under bribe, or so forth. Um, the Talking to Bonnie, the doppelgangers that have been involved with Force Grey have now been officially brought into Force Grey as full members, and have been given tasks either to infiltrate these cells or to stand in as body doubles. And
We're legal.
well, you're
Unscripted.
Possible.
yeah, it's not that you're legal. You're still an unknown. There's definitely that moment where you're going, okay, these people are good. These people are, but let's not tell the public that we're using shapeshifters. Um, but
Nah.
there's definitely um, a a fog of paranoia and dread that is sort of moved over Waterdeep. From what you understand, um, places like Baldur's Gate, places like Neverwinter are up in chaos, especially Neverwinter, where there already have been several large scale attacks, as in explosions, similar to what you might have seen in the adventures of Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Spoilers. But unfortunately, any magical wards or sometimes don't seem to work. So they're using something new that hasn't been seen. The there's And this comes in from your father, is saying that a lot of the upheaval, in a sense, a lot of the resentment that the lower classes have towards the higher classes is definitely bubbling up, and this is going to be known definitely as a winter of social change should everything happen. Um, so in a sense, he's scared for his life. He's scared for his family, because being mages and nobility, you've got the double
whammy.
Target on the back.
double target on the back. The fact that so he, for example, has fully re-armored up whenever he's walking around. He and most of the students in the school have been serving as bodyguards as well.
How is the sister also?
She is like every winter. She is bored to tears within the mansion. Um, she's running. She's got only one thing to do, is wanting to go run outside in the snow, but fortunately her mentor and her tutor keeps a very close eye on her and does not leave her side.
I'll send a message to Caleb to give him an update also.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. That's what you get from your father, Caleb, your sister, any persons that. Have you ever contacted your mother, by the way, or are you skipping around?
Yes. One time I will send a message to my mother
Okay.
to reassure that everything is okay, that I'm in good health, that Vroondomon and everyone is looking keeping an eye on me,
Okay.
and that I'm very sorry, but we kicked flaming stupid asses very hard, even if we tried diplomatic reasons.
Mhm.
And we're trying our best not to die and to try to save the world.
I think
They're
her
not
answer.
flaming. They're not flaming stupids. They're flaming idiots.
Yeah, flaming idiots.
I think the reply would be something along the lines: "Don't patronize me. I know the dangers. I know what you are doing, and I know that you are capable. But do not blame me for being worried." I think that would be the kind of
I
Don't
think
mother me, I'm your mother.
exactly.
I think one of the messages would be in a very teasing way to reassure in a bit like, "Oh, you're not crying on me anymore, mother. I'm quite disappointed." just to give that little banter back to give her some normality.
I think
do
her
not want to do this.
answer would be there's only so much wet green one can stomach.
And I think before I'm gonna react with all the information I have,
Mhm.
for the father and mother, I would just answer, "We're doing our best. It's hard. Please be safe. I'm
And
begging you. Please be safe."
and the reply would be, "I know, dear. We are, and you are." Now she's keeping an eye on you,
Yeah.
definitely. But when you travel
Oh
for 16
shit.
when you travel for 16 hours a day and that spell only lasts for a minute, it's going to be a lot of jungle hacking. It's not,
Oh shit.
Hmm?
Okay. No. I was just thinking about me having that conversation with Salida. Was she crying on me or not on that moment?
Roll me a d20.
Hey, it could, and that would be fucking funny.
You'll find out.
Maybe.
I think after the messages, I would put my back against, like, not far from the big guy. I would make a dome, close it completely off, and soundproof it or whatever the fuck I can do.
Mhm.
And I would scream, cry, like a full outburst of any emotions. And I think there would be a little sound of.
There's I think there would most likely be a moment where as you set up the dome, I think it would maybe be Inete who would by reflex says, "Okay, well, and she maybe pushes her head in and just pushes out and turns around, her face a bit sort of darker, as she blushes and says, "Let us give him a moment, shall we?"
Occupied.
Do not disturb.
Whatever. No.
It's gonna be for at least a big hour. A
Okay.
very long hour that I'm just in the foulest mood of them all.
Should we send in the bard? As you rest in the area in the clearing, there's on occasion you will see that you are not alone. Whether it's difficult to know if it's the same pygmy that walks in,
Yeah. They all look the same.
or others. Well, actually, no. Sorry, they would each individually would be very very different, either in coloring, shapes, sizes. Um, but it's different. It's difficult to know. They the well, you'd be able to notice that maybe this one's a bit different. But did we actually really see the first one? It's more that kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
You'll also see walking by, and coming and maybe sitting for a while before moving forwards, placing maybe an offering. You'll see a couple of Bitari goblins. So there's a troop of 3 of them wearing the shield the shield masks. One of
Mhm.
them comes in and brings in sort of an offering of a necklace of feathers that he puts down as they sit. Again, there's a moment where Eku needs to translate, as where they keep asking, have you made the offering to be able to rest here? Basically, there is a small toll to pay. But you can see that Eku is weaving a crown of reeds and weeds and flowers that she's saying that that
I
she
think.
holds it up and yeah, Vroon.
No, go on. I will tell you after
Okay.
you're done.
There's definitely a moment where she's doing this by respect, not necessarily
Mhm.
because it's a god. She knows better, but just by the fact that if this is the custom of the place, then she will do so.
I think
Yeah.
Sorsha will just. I have one candle in my backpack,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll lit one and place it.
Nice,
Yeah.
With
very
that.
nice. Okay.
Like, so like Vroon is, at some point just grabbing a pot out of the hole.
Mm-hmm.
makes some dinner at some point, and I think he probably goes like grabs like one of the wooden bowls that he has, and then just pours one of the portions in there, and goes
Oh,
like
okay.
fine.
Okay.
Like he's definitely going like it's not a god, but he's like seeing how all these other creatures are coming here like peacefully, and he's sort of
Mm-hmm.
going like, okay,
Yeah.
I respect that at least.
I mean, there's something about how maybe not gods, but there is something to be said about how gods are being how some gods can be born, which is by faith. Um, there are stories of mortals becoming ascending to godhood
Murder.
through incredible feats, sometimes murder, um, but ascending in a sense to a state of being a god. Why would it be different for something like this? And if there's sufficient faith um, in an object like this, maybe this is where a god could be born. And a god of rest in the middle of a jungle, well, there are worse things to be born. The other type of creature that you see they look like frogmen, brightly colored. Though most that you would see walking about seem to be of the green persuasion. So let me just show you. And these you know, Vroon, to be
Burn.
grungs.
Yeah.
Um, mostly as you can see, they're mostly packs of gatherer, sort of hunter gatherers walking about. Salida definitely has a sort of frown when she sees them come on, and definitely has a look of, okay, these need to be. She doesn't trust the the whole area of rest and neutral zone. Eku is fully is completely calm, but Salida is very much still on her guard, and you can see her gaze sort of whipping back and forwards as these creatures walk sort of openly without hiding in the area.
Mm. Yeah, I think I think it's probably the point when the goblins, sort of didn't bother us and just went
Mm.
like, we're going to bring an off. That was like, oh, okay, goblins are like not going to try and get something from us. Okay.
Um, there's there's definitely, at least from the goblins, there's definitely a you can detect from the masks that yes, they're in peace, but they're going, huh? Remember those tourists? So it's very much here we do nothing. It's a whole continental thing in John Wick, right? He
Yeah.
said no business on the premises, but
Yeah.
you leave the perimeter, we will find you.
Once you step outside the clearing, it's a whole other
Mhm.
story.
Yeah. Um, Eku has this, and at some point, Salida's attention starts being drawn to Eku because Eku seems to be perfectly fine in communicating with any of these creatures, though none of them
A lot
speak
of
common.
languages.
Yeah. Which and Salida sort of raises an eyebrow and says, and maybe mutters to herself about something along the lines of, how is this even possible? But possible it is. Echo seems to be completely relaxed. She seems, There's a moment of she's at peace in a certain way. Inete is definitely she's kind of mystified. And but as well as you see that she's taken this whole thing as not only rest for the body but also for the soul, and she's definitely meditating and probably communing um, in some way. But you see her. I mean, you spent the rest of the day and the night here before you leave the next dawn. But you do see her as she's communing, maybe bringing up visions. You see her again shaken by the nightmares of these red robes, these deathly faces within red robes um, that await her in the Aldani Basin. As you've gotten your rest under the watchful guise of the god of the god of the peace god, the golden god. Where will you be headed now?
So where do we still? So do we need to go to conventions for something?
No.
I think we do need to go to Mbala.
Yeah.
Yes, but we would need to go back to the place where we left our canoes if we
No,
want
your
to
canoes are
go.
with
No.
you.
We put it
Oh
in
yeah, no,
our
right.
home.
Yep.
My bad. My bad. I'm
Convenient,
having
huh?
roll.
There
Alright.
is Yes, there is enough space in your hole for 2 canoes.
I would say we
Dude.
pick up. I would say we do this one and then this one and then here we pick up the river again. But if you want to go straight down here, it's possible too.
Like I'm trying to remember what was at conventions. Like
Nothing much. It's a base, a military base, I believe.
So the what is actually at let me just actually
Conventions should be the second camp of
the Paladins of
the
Helm.
Order of the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
let's see.
Well,
If I am.
we can at least tell them that Camp Righteous has been well obliterated.
Oh, I think they know.
Probably.
But it's nice to remind them.
It's a big detour just for a reminder. I don't
Well,
think you have to.
Well, the
as
Aldani
long as the
Basin.
river takes us further
Yeah.
south, it's not far. It's right off the river.
Well, do we really have to go back to the river?
It's the quickest way to travel.
Hmm.
Okay, so I've actually made a small Rosetta. If you look just above the mist cliffs, you'll notice 1,
Yes.
2, 3, 4,
1,
5,
2, 3,
6.
4,
Right.
5, 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way you can tell me more efficiently. You're going, okay, we're going down to 3, we're going down 4, we're going down 5, and so forth. I
Perfect.
think that will be a bit easier
Yeah.
going forward. Okay. Actually, what I'm going to do is,
Wow.
let's see.
If you want to get back to the river, let's go.
We can ask the DM, but I really think that the river is the quickest way to travel, right?
Yes, definitely.
So maybe go down to 3 and then 3 again. It will be the shortest path to
Yeah.
the river.
There was what was the reason why we needed to go to Umbala?
Because of
Inete?
Eku telling us, no, Mbala was for Eku telling us there was a seer there that could give
Yeah,
us
that is probably
directions.
a very important one.
So-
Probably more
Yeah.
so than
So no,
Inetis thing.
what was mentioned was that there is the sage is in a city called Uralonga, situated to the west of Mbala.
Oh, yeah, right.
However, Eku did mention that if you were going in that direction, she had a favor to ask from you.
In Mbala, right?
In Mbala, yes. That there was something in Mbala that she wanted you to help her destroy.
So Aldani Basin, I would say, because that's the quickest way to get near Mbala is with the canoes, and with the canoes
Probably.
we're going to arrive at the Aldani Basin anyway. Then the
And then
the
head
men in
west from
red.
there.
Yeah, so that's when we can handle the thing
Yeah.
that Inete asked us with the men in red. And
Yeah,
then
that's in
from
Aldani
there,
Basin.
yeah, from there Mbala for Eku, and
Yeah.
then further
And then
on
west
for the
to
seer.
wherever
Yeah.
the seer is. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we
makes
should
sense.
let the side quest for the
Well,
return.
considering that the seer can tell us more about where the temple is that we need to find,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
That
idea
will-
is currently
Sure.
it's going to be Mbala so that Eku can bring you to Oralunga, and Oralunga is the sage that will take you to this black obelisk that is somewhere
the
in the
Aldani
jungle.
Basin is technically indeed a side quest, but
It
we're
might be on the way.
going to end up there probably with the river.
Anyways,
Can't
yeah,
see where the
and
river's going, so
Let's go
Yeah,
back
but
to the river.
it's called a basin, and
Yeah.
a basin has water, so
likely. Let's
it's
hope
likely.
there's no
Yes,
waterfall or anything like that.
the river Shoshan Star has its starts basically at the Aldani Basin.
hmm And I would find it a bit stupid. I don't know if stupid is the right word, but useless to have taken Inete if we are not accomplishing her
Yeah,
side
she's
quest.
going
yes.
to insist that you go to the Aldani
Yeah,
Basin.
no, I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't
It makes
talking
sense.
to this side quest, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So where are you? So
Do
where
we
are you
go
headed?
3 or 4?
So
3.
Okay. Okay. So first of all, can you please roll me a d8?
Yes, we need to roll again, of
Yes,
course.
of course.
I'll roll
Who's
this time.
rolling this time? Yeah, okay.
A 6.
Okay, a 6.
Nice.
Why do we need to roll this?
It's for the
To
amount of
know-
days that we don't
yeah.
have encounters.
But we only have used 3 of those.
Yeah, but when
Yeah,
we have
but-
an encounter, it resets to 0 again.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I didn't get that part.
To avoid the whole accounting thing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So am I counting right if I say 1-2 days towards the river and then we're on the river again?
So it'd be 1, 2, 3 days.
3 days, yeah.
3 days
Okay.
up until the river. If you're going 3, 3, 3. So
Yeah,
let's
that's the idea.
And I think it makes sense to then make a quick stop in convention since we'll be like paddling past it anyway.
I'm not sure I want to stop there, but that's another problem.
Yeah, I had
that's-
enough.
so that's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days.
Had enough militia for a few weeks.
Oh, I would like to cast a fireball to there. A fireball, a fireball, a fireball.
No, you
What
don't
do you
need
have
to be.
against paladins?
You don't have to be aggressive towards them. You
one of
just-
the things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
come
it's a
in
bit
with.
weird. Yeah.
I'm not aggressive. I'm just removing them from the equation so that we have less stress.
Well, it's not.
It's not.
Really.
They're
They're
not.
not dangerous.
No,
They're stupid, but not dangerous.
it's not flaming faced.
Yeah.
Stupid but not dangerous.
Just like
That's
us.
There's a problem
wait.
in that sentence.
We are dangerous.
Okay, so as you move back, it's the rain has kept as you come down to the river, and basically, so it's 1, 2, 3 days to the river, and technically 1 day extra down to Camp Vengeance.
Yeah.
Because 1, 2. Can you please roll me a d3? Just to see at what
Roll this.
basically just to see at what time of day you arrive, basically. No, actually, you know what? No, I'm good. I know.
Okay.
So as you head down to the river, you find yourself again drowned in this noise of rain falling on water, and there's a blast of wind that comes in from the south as you turn around the bend, and the smell that comes in is that of it smells like it smells like a funeral. It smells there's the intense sort of rot of bodies, that acrid smell of acidic smell of rotting flesh, of cesspit, but also with the smoke of coming from a funeral pyre.
Yeah. I think Vroon will say something along the lines of like, Heinrich,
Well,
I believe that
that
your
fireball
fireball
will
is
be
going
used.
to be too late. And of course, Vroon picks up the smell like before
Yeah,
everyone
exactly.
else.
Yeah.
'Cause- and then like a little bit later, it's like, oh.
So as you turn around the bend, you come in to let me just find you the description here. Right.
Thanks.
So through the foliage, you see a crude timber fortification, a walled compound with watchtowers and tents inside it, encircled by a ditch and bristling with sharpened stakes. A large gatehouse faces the river, on the shore of which are 4 rowboats tied to a wooden post. Scattered around the fort are piles of charred human corpses and flayed animal carcasses swarming with flies. One of the guards, as you turn around the bend, spots you from one of these towers, and with a horn, sort of a but not well. This would be a trumpet, more of more than a horn.
Mhm.
Sort of signals that you've been seen. You're a bit too far out to place what the guards look like, but you can definitely see that they are wearing some sort of tabards or something along those lines. From inside, you can see a pair of smoky fires sort of rising up. These would be more cooking fires rather than the whole pyres, but yes, you find yourself on the proximity of Camp Vengeance. And on that note, we've been going for about an hour 40. How about we take a little break?
Right.
And that way I can set up your arrival here, as I had not expected you to arrive during the day. But, well, I would say this. Um, your arrival is during the day, but sundown is maybe an hour or 2 away at the most.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
Okay.
behind
Right.
those walls, you might find some measure of safety for the
Mhm.
night.
Just a question.
Hmm.
For the calendar, we have been
All right.
towards the river for 3 days,
3 days and
down the river one
day.
day,
Yeah.
and arriving at Camp Vengeance the day. So
No,
the
it's
day
a one day.
after.
Same day.
You're arriving this on the you got to the river in the morning, you went down the river, and
And
then you
On the
arrived.
arrived at
on the
Camp
river,
Vengeance.
we traveled 2 squares in
Yeah.
1 day.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why we're taking the river.
Yes, exactly. And so you're coming up to the end of your day, your traveling day
Yep.
by river now. Okay. Um, good. For my players, we will meet back in, let's say, 10 minutes, so that
Yeah.
And as for those watching, well,
Genius.
we will make it. The rest will come into a further video. So see you then.